but I just wanted to share a little bit about what it has meant for me. And for those people that know me, this is very uncomfortable because normally, when Kim said, will you come, she's smiling right now because I was talking about, she said, will you be our inspirational speaker? And I said, absolutely not, because that is not my thing. Now, she said, hey, will you come up here and do 15 minutes of comedy about testicular cancer? 100% I could do that because that's what I do now. That's how I deflect my trying to be serious and be heartfelt. I don't know, it's a new thing for me. So what you're about to watch here is a little bit of a speech I gave a few months ago for a cancer research group that I had come across in Los Angeles. And they didn't want me to do stand-up. I didn't find it out until about a week beforehand. So you're gonna see a little bit of this, and then I'll button it up after that. So this will go pretty quick. It's only like a 7-minute video. So just a little quick, cute little side note. This is also where they do the Golden Globes. So I'm speaking to an audience of 900 people. About 80% of them are conservative Jews. So I was trying to keep all my testicle jokes out because they were then asking for donations afterwards. So the director of the organization was like, can we cut out some of your jokes? Which is like, for me, very uncomfortable because that's how I deflect. Cool. All right, so all the jokes that you're going to hear in here literally are ad-libbed in the moment. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, give it up for Tower. Thank you all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is B.J. Lange. I'm an actor, comedian, and retired United States Air Force medic. Thank you. More importantly, I'm also a 2-time testicular cancer survivor. I don't think my testicles have ever got that many applause in their lives. Like most comedians, comedy is my coping mechanism. It is both my defense mechanism and my uncomfortably awkward, I've officially had more doctors than intimate partners examine my man rocks mechanism. However, as most of us in this room are familiar with, some things aren't that easy to make fun of. In July of 2015, I was put on active orders for my part-time job in the Air Force Reserve. That September, during the completion of my very challenging Air Force medic program, the ground began to shake. From this moment, everything happened so fast. My first ever surgery, radical orchinosis, and chemotherapy, all completed by the end of 2015. I wasn't very worried because I had faith in the military, my doctors, and of course, myself. I approached my first diagnosis like a military mission. What were the objectives? What tasks must I complete? And boom, 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 I knocked them out, and I thought for sure I was going to be back in California doing my drill weekends very soon. My cancer at that time, it wasn't really that big of a deal to me. And to be honest, I didn't really think that much about it. In May of 2016, I underwent a medical evaluation board to determine the future that I had in the Air Force. Suddenly, my future wasn't in my control. After a very mentally and challenging med board process, the Air Force determined that I was not currently fit to serve, and in July of 2016, I was placed on temporary medical retirement. Maybe this whole cancer thing was more serious than I thought. I returned home feeling heartbroken, physically and mentally broken, and unaccomplished. For the first time in my life, I was anxious, depressed, hid. Things really changed for me. On one hand, I was happy to be home with the love that I have of acting, but on the other hand, I came home different than when I left. I was balancing transitioning into civilian life and all the mental and physical side effects of a cancer diagnosis. New struggles emerged. Understanding the VA system, getting healthcare established, and finally, taking a few minutes to actually realize what on earth just happened. My God, I had cancer and I'm a survivor and I'm a veteran. A year later, during my 1-year CT scan, the boogeyman came out of the closet. My cancer had returned and it was now in my lymph nodes. I was facing another course of therapy, including radiation. On the outside, I remained a source of inspiration for my friends and my family, but on the inside, I was scared to death. I secluded myself and began to have a lot of negative thoughts. Although donuts did make me feel a lot better. I gained a lot of weight, My primary care physician at the VA suggested I see mental health. I laughed. Nah, come on, I'm a man. I was in the military. I'm tough. I work medical. I got this. I'm cool. I was lying to myself, and she and I both knew it. I couldn't sleep. I was anxious, depressed, and sick, mentally and physically. Laying down to sleep at night turned into a fight with myself. I couldn't turn my brain off between puking, and there were swirling thoughts going through my head. Could I have kids? Will I get back in the Air Force? Will anyone want to be with me? Will these treatment side effects last forever? There were so many negative thoughts that I had. You are so broken. You're sick. Your friends don't want to see you like that. Your body looks weird. Will I ever be the man that I used to be? What if this comes back? Ultimately, thoughts really scared me. What if this pain never stops? Am I going to die? I need rest. It would be okay if I wasn't here. But back to my list, some things really, truly frighten me more than others. Like, how on earth did the Clippers outplay the Lakers this season? All jokes aside, 2 years ago I was in the best shape of my life, and I was so damn proud. And now, well, why is the collateral damage of a cancer diagnosis? My heart and soul in the Air Force was taking care of patients, taking care of my patients, and now I'm the patient. What was happening? The VA diagnosed me with PTSD, major depressive disorder, anxiety, and insomnia. On top of that, I got a traumatic brain injury, neuropathy, nerve damage, migraines, and hearing loss. Then while on disability, my part-time job of 12 years let me go when I was in the middle of treatments. And then the woman I began seeing just before my relapse, when in the middle of treatments, stopped in all very nice shoes. When people hear the word survivor, many people imagine a life that's free from cancer. The reality is that none of us who have ever battled cancer are never really free. There are many casualties, including physical and emotional symptoms, relationships, careers, and we're never really free from the fear. But there is good news. Thank God there's some good news. I experienced things that I never would have otherwise. New opportunities arose. I became enrolled in the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program, and I'm now using my desire to serve my country in ways that I simply could not have otherwise in years ago. But thanks to the generosity of people like you, many more people are surviving cancer in treatments. Well, they're becoming less toxic. Whatever your cancer question is, the answer is always research. Research to create more personalized treatments that reduce the collateral damage and reduce the casualties, and research to help end the fear. Thank you for your attention and being here tonight. Your president, all right. So, that was probably, I'm not kidding you, one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever had to do in my life.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I guess the question that people always ask me is, well, what do you learn from a cancer diagnosis and how do you grow? And I'm not saying it's easy because as I stand here today, I'm 2 years in remission from relapse. So my journey's not over. Our journey will never be over until we die. So the question is, how do you mitigate everything that's happening? And again, I can't stress it enough. I'm not saying I'm perfect. People are like, oh my God, you're doing so many inspirational things. And I'm on the back end, I'm stressing out. I don't know if I'm getting back in the military. I don't know if I'm gonna have health care coverage for the rest of my life with TRICARE. You know, every year they reevaluate me. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. You know, we all have the anxiety of going to get your next scan, you know, or gonna go do blood work, or you wake up in the morning, you got back pain, and you're thinking, holy shit, my cancer's back, right? The question is, how do you mitigate that and wear this as a badge of honor versus something that brings you down? And it's still something that I struggle with, so I try and use, obviously I'm here and I joined the board for TCAF so I can help and be an advocate for those people. And not just people with TC, not just families and folks who might be indirectly affected, but any cancer, because there's a lot of similarities in everything, or any sort of adversity. And now, and I'll tell you something that sounds really strange when I tell this to people, the best thing in my life
that ever happened to me, but I'll say the second best thing was getting diagnosed with cancer. It's awkward. I'm not saying it's 50-50, as far as like great and negative, but there are so many great things that came out of that, such as getting enrolled in the Air Force Wounded Warrior program, where now I became a defense contractor, and I teach what I do in the civilian world using improv comedy as a healing tool. Would have never have happened had I not got diagnosed with cancer. So trying to use the positive and find the silver lining and focusing on that, that's the most important. Always reach out to me. I'm always going to holler at you. I know Mike will always answer my text. Might be a minute because God knows he's so busy with the Testicular Cancer Society. But there's people that are going to be here, and if there's one takeaway, it's to remember that it's a team, it's a tribe, it's a group, and you're part of a sorority or a fraternity that you never wanted to be a member of. You're now in that, so how do you continue to have advocacy and help people? And helping people, for me, helps me. That's the way I continue to heal. So thank you very much. Enjoy lunch.